Crunch Time
with Ryan Kordziel.
It's Crunch Time.
Unbelievable.
This is Kordziel Krunch
with Ryan Kordziel.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Kordziel Krunch. In January 1967, the NFL and the former American Football League were at the height of a years-long war. For the first 5 seasons of the AFL, there was a gentleman's agreement where teams from each league would not sign players who were under contract from the other team. In 1966, however, Hall of Fame Giants owner Wellington Mara broke the pact by signing Buffalo Bills kicker Pete Gogolak, hoping to improve his faltering Giants. This led to the complete breakdown of the agreement, and soon many NFL players began to be signed by AFL teams. The NFL began to panic, fearful that owners such as the Raiders' Al Davis, then the AFL commissioner, would poach their top players and diminish the power of the NFL. In June 1966, prior to the start of the NFL and AFL seasons, the leagues agreed to a 4-year plan where the AFL would cease to exist, which it did in 1970. As part of this agreement, a championship game was created. In a July 25, 1966 letter to Commissioner Pete Rozelle, Kansas City Chiefs owner Lamar Hunt wrote, "I have jokingly called it the Super Bowl, which obviously can be improved upon." The name stuck, though it wasn't officially used until 1969. The game featured the NFL powerhouse Green Bay Packers against Hunt's own AFL champion Kansas City Chiefs. The Packers started off strong when quarterback Bart Starr drove the team down the field for a 37-yard touchdown to take a 7-0 lead. In the second quarter, the game really picked up, starting with a 7-yard touchdown from Chiefs quarterback Len Dawson to Curtis McClinton to tie the game. Immediately following the drive, the Packers drove down the field and scored when running back Jim Taylor ran for a 14-yard touchdown on Coach Vince Lombardi's famed power sweep play. This made the score 14-7 Packers. On the first play of the next drive for the Chiefs, Len Dawson was sacked, but he recovered and threw 4 consecutive passes for 58 total yards. Mike Mercer made a 31-yard field goal to make the score 14-10 Packers. The second half looked like it would start out better for the Chiefs as they were nearly at midfield at the 49-yard line. But on third down, Dawson, facing heavy pressure, threw an interception to Packers safety Willie Wood, which he returned 50 yards to the Chiefs' 5-yard line. Bart Starr said later, "It was the biggest play of the game." Running back Elijah Pitts scored a 5-yard touchdown to make it 21-10. These were the last points the Chiefs would score. The third quarter ended as the Packers' Max McGee caught 3 passes for 40 yards as part of a 56-yard drive that ended with a 13-yard touchdown. In the fourth quarter, Bart Starr threw 2 passes for 62 yards. Then Elijah Pitts ran in for a 1-yard touchdown to make it 35-10 Packers, the last score of the Super Bowl. 12 players from the game eventually were elected to the Hall of Fame. Packers tackles Forrest Gregg and Henry Jordan, linebackers Dave Robinson and Ray Nitschke, cornerback Herb Adderley, safety Willie Wood, quarterback Bart Starr, running back Jim Taylor, defensive end Willie Davis, as well as Chiefs quarterback Len Dawson, tackle Buck Buchanan, and linebacker Bobby Bell. Packers running back Paul Hornung, a Hall of Famer himself, missed the game due to a pinched nerve in his foot, and Emmett Thomas also was elected. Both head coaches, Vince Lombardi, the namesake of the Super Bowl trophy, and Hank Stram were also inducted into the Hall of Fame, as was Chiefs owner Lamar Hunt. 3 of the game's broadcasters, Ray Scott, Frank Gifford, and Kurt Gowdy, were later given the Pete Rozelle Award by the Hall for excellence in broadcasting. Super Bowl I had humble beginnings. A game that didn't sell out, was broadcast by 2 separate networks, and was wiped off both CBS and NBC tapes afterwards, began the multi-million-dollar spectacle we see today. The University of Arizona and University of Michigan marching bands that played the national anthem and the halftime show have been replaced by popular household name performers like the Rolling Stones and Lady Gaga. The teams borrowed the Los Angeles Rams cheerleaders rather than use their own. and commercials have gone from $42,000 to over $5 million. But the game still remains, at its core, more powerful and popular than ever before. That'll wrap up this episode of Kordziel Krunch. Join us next week when I take a look at some more iconic moments in sports history. For Kordziel Krunch, I'm Ryan Kordziel.
Kordziel Krunch.
With Ryan Kordziel.
Ryan Kordziel. Crunch time.